Okay, so if you are setting it up from the get-go, like you put the circuit on, then the only thing you have to do, we're not going to use it on a baby, is the patient circuit calibration. So that means you're going to put both of these to max, the limit and the adjustment, and then you set the max pressure alarm to max because we're going to make that way jacked up. And then we're going to put the bias flow at 20. This is our bias flow. Okay, and then we're going to push this and see what we get. And it's about 38, 39, 40, perfect. Exactly what we want right there, 39 to 40. Well, that's it. Done. Okay. That's a circuit calibration test when you put a new circuit on. The pre-use check, this is done right before you put a baby on it, or maybe you do it once a shift just to kind of practice. And this is just simple stuff. Half of this stuff is like connected to air and oxygen. Make sure it's on, connected, plugged in. Turn on the power, check that the lights go on. And they're talking about all these little lights here. And then you're just gonna go straight through this, and then you're until it says perform the ventilator performance check. And you gotta find that one. This tells you that your circuit is ready to go. I didn't change anything from the last time when I did that other circuit test. So if it hasn't been done, it'll be like this. If it has been done, it won't be. So a lot of it is the same. 20 on the bias flow. And in this time we want to do the pressure control, the green, to the noon position, straight up and down. You leave your max. It's very important that you don't touch this max until after you set up the baby, because if these two get switched, like if I put this one to noon and I had this one higher, this one lower than this one, then I'm really limiting the power. It's a big no-no. So just leave this maxed out until you set it up on your baby and you're really sure where you want it to be. And then you just want it a quarter turn from where you're set. So and we'll go with the clock here. So if this is set at noon, you'd set this one at 3 p.m. This is set at closer to 2 p.m. You set this closer to like almost there at the 4 p.m., 5 p.m. position. Okay, so here we're going to set the frequency to 15 and 33. We haven't changed that at all. Set the power all the way up to 6. And we're looking at those little tiny numbers in there. 2, 3, it's like some of the knobs on this machine you have to turn 100 times to get where you're trying to go. And the other ones, you barely turn them, and you're there. So that's 6, and I locked it. Okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and press go. Remember, every time we press go, I'm gonna even out my piston there, make sure it's kind of equal, and I went too far, and that's right down here. And then I'm gonna look for my parameters at my mean airway pressure at sea level, because we're here in Phoenix, and it should be between 15 and 23, and it's almost at 19. So that's perfect. So this is a CALD circuit. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this way down to a normal setting. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And let's get this set up for a baby. Okay? And this is just going to be some start settings that I would advise you always have on at the beginning of your shift. These are going to be little babies for the most part. If it was a big baby, then we would have to change these settings. We'd go way up on our map and we'd go way up on our amp. But 28 and 12 to 13 And notice how I'm taking the flow down to get my mat down, because we don't need to be at a flow of 20 on a little baby. Okay. So there we go. I'm getting 12. I'm back at the noon position to get my 12. My app's at 28. My flow's kind of closer to 15, but that's okay. You don't want it at 20 though. You want to make sure it's between 10 and 12 usually, but this is okay. You make sure that piston's center, 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 a little bit over here to the right, sort of center piston, and that's it. This is ready to go on a baby. Remember, when you take this off, it's gonna stop. And then you'll have to turn it back on with the 2 fingers once you reconnect it to the ET tube. You might have to push and hold twice if you're on higher settings. Higher settings, I'm talking about the mean airway pressure here. If we're setting this to 17, 18, 19, 20 for a bigger kid or a sicker kid, then that's when you're gonna have to do the push and hold to pressurize and then push it again to go. Okay, so always remember the 2 fingers. Peace be with you. We're all nervous when we're touching this machine, so remember, we need some peace. So that's how we remember our 2 fingers, okay? So that is it. That is all you need to do. Obviously, your FiO2 is over here, and you're gonna just go, remember, because we're not ventilating at peak airway pressure, we're ventilating at mean airway pressure. So if you're coming from a conventional, or if you're bagging previously on 40%, give them a little more. So if you were on 40%, you're gonna set this to 50% because it's gonna take a little while to recruit at this mean airway pressure versus a peak airway pressure in conventional ventilation. So give them a little bit more O's than they were on. And allow them to recruit, give them some time before you do an x-ray, give them some time before you do a gas, because it's gonna take a little while to recruit. This is not a fast system. See, some of these are the touchiest knobs in the world. They go super fast. And the other ones, you have to turn it forever. So it just is what it is, okay? Once you're stable, that's when you could turn your mean airway pressure limit over here, and then you, as a double security, you could set it over here too. Do 10 above or like 5 above. So here we could do 18, 17, that's good, 5 above, and 8's 5 below. So just so that it doesn't wander. If it is wandering or jumping up, a lot of times it's kinked. It's your tube kinked, or some of these tubes are kinked. Okay? So jumping up on the pressure means kinked, or could be it needs suction.